Man, Madison Square Garden crowds are awesome. I'm John Redland with a retro review of WWE Survivor Series 1996. The crowd was electric. The matches were all great, except for one elimination match. But you know what? Every pay-per-view can't be perfect. This is as close to perfect as you're going to get, though. And that crowd was goddamn great. They made that main event. They really added a lot to this show. And booing the hell out of Shawn Michaels outside of the female fans, that was fucking great to hear. So Vince, JR, and Lawler on commentary for the first couple matches, and then Sunny would be out there to get in on promoting all the tag team action, which she was known for taking, because she got passed around like a joy at a college party. I don't like Sunny. Tammy the Tramp, as I want to call her, and will continue to call her, she was not anybody worth investing in. She has created a lot of her own problems, so you know what? She deserves this bashing. So, dark match. Aldo Montoya, Bart Gunn, Bob Holly, and Jesse James beating Billy Gunn, Justin Hawk Bradshaw, Salvatore Sincere, and the Sultan. Jesse James, the win didn't matter to him. The future Road Dogg, the worst member of the Armstrong family. Can we trade him for Brad and bring Brad back? Could we do that? Could we possibly do that? Because Brad at least was a good worker. What the fuck was Jesse James? He was a good promo. And somebody that was mass denier. And got, destroyed on Twitter for being a fucking idiot. There's such a thing as differing opinions, and then there's being an idiot. And you know what? He got rightfully targeted and bashed for his fucking stupidity. Also, he was a fucking joke even then. So, anyway. Bulldog, Owen, and the New Rockers, Leaf Cassidy, who's Al Snow, who had to be given a mannequin head that was more over than he ever was. And not a good guy either. Not a really good guy if you read up the stories about him. Good in the ring, but fucking bland. He was as bland as white paper. And Marty Jannetty, who hopefully was not committing any atrocities in a back alley at a bowling alley. So, they took on Furnas and LaFon and the Godwins. Phineas I. Godwin and Henry O. Godwin. Pig and Hog. Because Vince McMahon is an immature jackass. I can understand immature behavior. There's such a thing as having too much of it and letting it bleed over into your wrestling product. Hillbilly Jim was their manager. This is great stuff. Furnas and LaFon got a chance to show off. It took a while for the first elimination. Marty got eliminated by Henry, and then Henry got eliminated right by Owen, and then a bit later, Bulldog hit a power slam and pinned Phineas. And then Cassidy got, hit with a reverse suplex off the ropes by LaFon. Pretty damn impressive. I always wish Furnas and LaFon had been used a little bit better. And it came down to Furnas basically hitting a huge dropkick, by the way. Hell of a dropkick that he hits. And German suplex on Owen Hart. JR quoted as saying, Owen Hart landed right on his head. And it's over. Furnas and LaFon getting the victory. And you know what? It's a shame after Mania 13 they really weren't used all that well. They should have been bigger stars in the company, even though Vince McMahon didn't care about tag team wrestling for whatever reason. Mankind vs. Undertaker, Paul Bearer suspended in the steel cage, high above the ring. These two always had good matches. This was a brawl mixed with some really, really good, striking, and Undertaker had a different look. He had just been buried alive at the previous pay-per-view and came down with bat wings and everything, and we got a camera in the cage, so Paul Bearer was looking all scared, and he had the urn with him, so I guess maybe he had something to talk to. It was kind of hilarious, and it was very physical. The claw hand kept getting targeted, so the mandible claw couldn't get used, even though it was used a little bit later. Into the crowd a bit. Guardrail to the back of the head. Mankind clearly not giving a shit about his body. As you can tell from promos that he cut later, interviews that he cut later. That documentary that they released in like 2013 about, encapsulating his career and all the great outside work he's done. Watching Mick Foley walk in that was really sad. We get mandible claw, but Undertaker fights out of it, eventually hitting the tombstone 1, 2, 3. Then he tries to get the Paul Bearer in the cage, but the Masked Executioner attacks him. The Masked Executioner was the late, great Terry Gordy. Yeah, it wasn't really a great use of him. Terry Gordy, unfortunately, was not in good health at this point. He really fucking wasn't. Sonny joins commentary, and JR and Sonny have words. And Sonny's like, well, I'll tell you what to do. And JR's like, it's like, you'll just sit there and like it. And JR's like, yeah, sure, I'll reduce myself to her level. Why not? And Sonny, at one point, talking about Triple H here. But I'll mention the participants first. Crush, Goldust, Lawler, and Triple H with Marlena versus Mark Merrow with the Gutter Trash Sable. Jake Roberts, the Stalker, Barry Windham, who was a hunter, and the debuting Rocky Maivia. Rocky never went to do anything in wrestling, so it was a one-off for him. Of course, I'm joking. He only became the biggest goddamn Hollywood star right now. Fucking hell, it's hard to believe that a guy that had such poofy hair and such a ridiculous outfit and was all smiling and happy to be there, would go on to be one of the biggest stars in wrestling, at least in the Attitude Era, and even for a few years after, and then be the biggest star in Hollywood. Triple H did not have a woman with him, and JR said, why would he want a woman there with him? What purpose would that serve in this match? Damn, JR, I see that you don't just hate the AEW women's division, but you know what? He got to berate Sunny, and Sunny deserved to be berated. 100%, because Sunny was a goddamn gutter tramp, and she always will be, and she's somebody that has been given a lot of chances. She keeps screwing them up, and she deserves all this criticism. And also Sable, one of the biggest jokes ever in wrestling, especially in the Attitude Era. I understand she got big ratings, because people apparently like real dolls that were never finished. There was one funny line, though, where Sunny did say, oh, Sable got to be careful with the pyrotechnics or whatever, or, you know, or those things are, you know, might go off. They're flammable. Let's be honest, I don't like Sunny or Sable, so had they been on opposite sides as far as being, you know, managerial, you know, in a managerial role, I might have gone absolutely insane. Because Sable never wanted to learn anything. Sunny was at least a good promo, but they're both pieces of shit behind the scenes. Jake replaced an injured Mark Henry. Mark Henry would be injured quite a bit in the first few years of his career. Burger King chants, good pace. Rocky got, you know, somewhat of a mixed reaction at first. He got cheered a little, but he did get booed quite a bit because they were like, we see that this guy's good, but why are you presenting him like this? 10 minutes in, Jake Roberts DDTs Lawler. We get a curtain call pinning the Stalker. Barry Windham, former NWA champion and longtime great workhorse. You know, a guy that worked a series of matches with Ric Flair, I believe in '87. And it was either 87 or 88. I think it was 87. I actually can't remember. Let me know in the comments because it's between 87 and 88. But Barry Windham and Ric Flair had a great series of matches. Barry Windham, an incredible worker, and he was made to be a goddamn goof here. And then he was made one of the new Blackjacks. I understand that Barry wasn't in great shape at this point, but goddamn, that's how you're going to use a guy like him? And then 7 minutes in, Mero Saul pins Triple H. Mero, a great athlete, almost slipped. It's a good thing he didn't land on his head. And then Mark Mero crashes outside. We get a hard punch to Mero, and then he gets pinned, and then Jake Roberts gets pinned soon afterwards. Jake Roberts getting hit in the heart. Funny, because it doesn't seem like he has a heart. But hard punch to Goldust on accident, and then body press pins Crush, and then soon after shoulder breaker, pins Goldust. Rocky survives, and again, not going on to do anything else in wrestling. Though he did get booed out of the goddamn building in Chicago for Mania 13 against the Sultan. When you can't even get over on a masked Rikishi, that's something. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret Hart, #1 contenders match. Crowd was split because they love both guys. They were coming on to Austin. No matter how much he tried to heal himself, and I mean, like, you know, be able to vicious jackass. He was getting some boos, but he was getting a lot of cheers. Now, it wasn't like at Mania 13 and their fucking incredible match here. That was probably their best match. This is their best technical match. Yes, it had some brawling. It was hard hitting. We get a table spot. Brett gets launched over the Mexican announcer table's wall, and then basically gets beat up there. Crowd was electric. Stunner, pull from the ropes for 2. Cloverly, we get a lot of submission stuff. We get a $1 Million Dream, spring off the ropes. 3 count, 1, 2, 3. Oh no, Austin didn't let go in time. And Bret Hart won, the right to face the WWE champion at the following pay-per-view. And it was a great match. I encourage you guys to check this one out. What I don't encourage you guys to check out is the next match. It's the elimination match. The Fake Diesel, Farouk, with PG-13, that goddamn goofy-ass, cracker duo that was wrapping him to the ring and everything. They were like the Beastie Boys, but the Beastie Boys had no talent. Then we have Vader. That's what Vader was reduced to at this point. He went from SummerSlam to this in 3 months because Shawn Michaels was a prick and decided, oh, Vader's too rough and everything. We need to get rid of Vader. We need to push him down the card. Because Shawn didn't want to work with Vader because Vader was better, at having better matches than Shawn because Vader could be more professional even though he was rougher. And the Fake Razor, the late Rick Bogner. Diesel, by the way, Fake Diesel was Kane. No wonder Kane was so grateful, or Glenn Jacobs was so grateful to get the masked Avenger Kane. Ironic because he doesn't support a mask mandate. Moving on. Flash Funk, Savio Vega, Yokozuna, who was gargantuan at this point. It was his last pay-per-view appearance for WWE. and he would die, I think, less than 4 years later. I think he would die in October 2000 at the age of 34. And recent Hall of Fame inductee, renowned murderer Jimmy Snuka, who I hope is burning in hell for what he did, and now spending a day in jail for it. Vince McMahon paying off the cops, because Jimmy Snuka was coked out of his goddamn mind, an abusive, violent piece of shit, and killed Nancy Argentino. And he's a fucking goddamn jackass. Check out, by the way, my Dark Side of the Ring review if you want to see me really get angry about that, just knowing what he got away with. Okay, it was a mess. A couple guys got eliminated, and then everybody got chairs and hit everybody, and the match was thrown out. It was like after 10 minutes. Fucking hell. Sid versus Shawn, WWE Championship match. Sid was cheered like he was a god. I mean, good grief. Sid, the fist bumps, all the stuff. Everybody was just absolutely out of their minds for Sid. And Shawn got some cheers from the female fans, and he got booed by everybody else. And he got booed way heavier as the match went on. This is easily one of Sid's best matches in his career. This was fucking great. I mean, Sid, I will admit right now, I'm a big fan of Sid Vicious, Psycho Sid, whatever name he went by. I fully recognize that Sid was not good in the ring. He wasn't. He was not good. He looked incredible. He had the perfect look for wrestling. He had that intimidation, that intimidation factor about him. He, you'd be scared of the guy, but he was ridiculous. And also, if he was left out there too long, he couldn't have long matches unless he was featured in short bursts. Because he again had the perfect look, but yeah, as far as in the ring, I recognize in the ring he was not very good. He had some athletic ability, actually was a pretty damn good athlete, and could do a kip up, and for a big 6'9" guy, that was great. Of course, this is pre-leg break Sid. Boy, I got to review that here in a couple months. But this was good. Leg focus, certainly a mixed bag as far as the crowd goes. JR doing his best to cover up the fact that the crowd wanted basically Shawn Michaels' head on a goddamn spike. The boos got so massive, it was like almost shaking the floor how loud they were. And Sid grabbed a camera, hit Jose Lothario with it, and this is after Shawn had basically countered out and tried to basically counter out of the powerbomb. And Shawn hits sweet chin music, easy for me to say, looks down, sees Jose, it's like, oh no, guy that helped train me that I never wanted in my corner, because I was a pilled out jackass. And yeah, I know Shawn's clean now. He was a pilled out jackass back then. And he didn't want the man who trained him, who helped him, who broke him into wrestling, who gave him a shot at earning all this money that he never really fucking earned despite being great in the ring. Shawn Michaels was a terrible draw as champion. He wasn't as bad as Diesel, but he was pretty goddamn bad. I mean, then again, nobody was really drawing in WWE. They were having a few good matches, or a few good, sellouts, but a lot of it, things were going down, even though the match quality is pretty good. Shawn's a great performer. I will never doubt that. But the fact that he gets a pass for some of the stuff that he did, no. I won't allow that. He checks on Jose. While the referee's down, camera to Shawn's back, and then last right's powerbomb. And look in the crowd. It's like if you're looking at it, you see on the left side, you see that one guy. I don't know. He's a black guy with big glasses, but he's always there at the events and always cheering loudly. I forget. I heard the guy's name once. I don't remember. But there's this girl, this redhead girl, this like yelling for Shawn. And the instant the 3 count hits and Shawn loses, she like just crumples in a heap. It's absolutely hilarious. And all the girls were crying. And it was great to see the fangirls of Shawn Michaels cry, because that's what they get for being, for considering Shawn Michaels a hero when he was a pilled up jackass. Yeah, we all got our demons. Here's the thing. I guarantee you one thing. I may be an evil son of a bitch as far as, how I talk about people. I may not be perfect. I certainly am not. But I'm never going to be the type of person to pill up my body, act like that much of a prick, and basically butcher so many goddamn careers because I have so many goddamn issues. Anyway, and plenty of people in wrestling did, and Shawn has overcome that. But that's my brief rant on Shawn. New champion, Sid Vicious, Psycho Sid Vicious, whatever the fuck you want to say. He only held it for 2 months and then dropped it back to Shawn at, Royal Rumble 97, when they had to do $5 tickets to fill out the Alamo Dome, because Shawn Michaels was not quite the draw in San Antonio that they thought. And maybe maybe trying to, do the Royal Rumble in the Alamo Dome wasn't the best goddamn idea. Wouldn't have even been the best idea in 99. So anyway, agree, disagree with what I said? Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritland. I'll see you soon.